Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get to our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Amanda Essen on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from Finland. She's our first Finnish guest. And if you can see on her lap, she has her adorable dog, too. Oh my God. Okay, that's not even fair, everyone. I mean, that's just absolutely I can't even right now. But Amanda's on here to share her, health and fitness journey and talk about how she adapted this lifestyle and really got into shape. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Amanda, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for calling me and wanting me here.
Oh, absolutely. But before we get started, I got to ask, what's the weather like in Finland today? And a disclaimer for everyone out there, I'm calling her at about 11 a.m. my time, and it's about 7 p.m. her time. But what's the weather like there today?
It has been rainy all day. Yeah, stormy, rainy. Really weird.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully it's not like that here. I mean, it is look like it might storm a little bit later on, but let's pray that it doesn't happen. But why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory into what inspired and what motivated you to adapt this lifestyle and become, such the person that you are today?
Well, I was really depressed. I had just suicide thoughts, and I was just in my own home, like really tired, no friends, just thinking all the bad things, the negative thoughts, and they get just worse, and at the end you don't get any, or you don't have any reason to live anymore. So that was when I found the gym. I just went with my dad. He was like, it was 2013, so he was just, come with me, don't be scared, I will show you some things, and how the gym helps him every day. So, and he was right, I just fell in love directly.
One of the big myths and stereotypes that we love to bust on this podcast is that, I mean, it's gotten better the last 5 years due to Instagram, but there's still so many women that have that fear where if they go to the gym, they, pick up one weight, they're just going to put on 50 pounds of muscle overnight. And I mean, I always say to that, it's like, good luck. I mean, you would be the first ever
Yeah.
person. I mean, you would make so much money off of that. But did you have that fear as you got started? And even if you didn't, I mean, I bet you still hear that myth all the time. How do you like to respond to that?
No, no, I was so skinny, so that was not even like a thought. Never had I've never been scared about the muscles. I think it looks nice, but I didn't even train because of getting some muscles gains or get in shape, get toned. I didn't care. I did it because it made me feel so happy.
And that's just so important too. It's just the happiness that it brings and the confidence boost, which leads me into the question that I love to ask after that. Because I mean, there are so many positive things that happens when you go to the gym, but I think one thing that affects women so much more positively than men is just that confidence boost that you get. Because I mean, we've heard so many stories on this podcast of women who've they've made life changing decisions due to that. They've just really use that for the betterment of their lives. How have you used that confidence boost to impact all of the aspects of your life? Because like I say, that is the one thing that you can take from the gym and use it to impact everything in your life.
Yeah, I feel like a big change in my self confidence. Like the gym, and well, train all kind of training. It gets a really a mood booster, and even if you don't like look at yourself, you don't need to, because you feel so good in yourself. You just feel comfortable and happy, and you don't compare yourself. I don't know about the other, of course. We're all like beginners sometimes, and then we get insecure, you know. But then when you get off those thoughts, then you get confidence.
Oh, absolutely, and just that is just such a huge thing, and I mean, like I said before, it really helps other aspects of your life. But what is the fitness lifestyle or gym culture like in Finland? Because we sort of know what it's like here in the United States, but in Finland, are a lot of people really into working out, or is it more of, just they're into being in shape? What is the experience like going to a gym in Finland as opposed to maybe going to one here?
That's a that's a good question because well, the fitness the big what do you call it? The fitness like the thing that happened,
Oh,
the,
shows?
yeah, and like it got suddenly one year it just
CrossFit?
no,
Um,
like everybody got into fitness and yeah, started competing here in Finland and just yeah. But now it seems like it's not that popular anymore, and the real one, the gym nerds, we're still here in the gym and we train every day. But yeah, I think in Finland we're really good at fitness competitions, of course, and weightlifting. But maybe more like sports, skiing, playing ice hockey.
Oh yeah, yeah, traditional Scandinavian countries that are really good at skiing and hockey and all those other sports. And I come from the land of 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, so all we do is play hockey basically during the winter. So that's a really big sport here as well. But I always love to ask because if you were to walk into a gym with 100 people, there's 100 different ways as to how those people got into shape. Whether it comes down to their diet, their exercise, how many reps they do. I mean, just so many little things add up to the overall package that people end up seeing. Was that a struggle for you, sort of figuring out what works best for you? Because I always say, if you were to walk up to someone and say, "Hey, what do you train for this body part? It looks amazing." What works best for them 99% of the time isn't going to work as good for you.
Yeah, of course it was. I made all the mistakes that everybody does, and I was a bit scared at a moment because I made so much mistakes, and of course, yeah, but you learn, and I had no hurry to get anything like fixed. It helped me to get healthy, gain weight because I was really skinny, and it get me healthy like in the mind. So that was the biggest thing. And when I got rheumatism, so that helped any my joints to get healthy also. So yeah, but of course, yeah, I was insecure, and I compared myself to the others, and
Oh yeah, that's just human nature though too. I mean, there's so many times where even me still now going to the gym, if I look at some guy and he's like, "Oh, that guy he just has so much better, body parts than I do," or he just looks like he's so much more further on. So yeah, I think that's one thing that everyone suffers from at least once in their journey. But I always love to ask because everyone's genetics are different. I mean, everyone always has that one body part that really, really takes off when they get started, that they don't have to train as much. And then everyone has that one body part that just lags behind, that they have to, train into overdrive to get it to catch up to everything else. I'll give you my examples first. I mean, for me, my back, just because I had jobs all throughout college of lifting and loading heavy boxes into trucks, and you either got a really nice back or you quit. But also I'm 6'3", so my lower body is just absolutely shot. Where I have to train it into overdrive just to get it to look like I even lift legs. I still have friends at my gym who still make the joke, "Hey Ryan, you plan on training legs at all this year?" And I always say, yeah, well, one of these days, I guess. But what were those body parts for you when you were getting started?
my legs was really strong because I had played soccer for many years when I was teenager. Yeah, but so yeah, it was easy for me to do any squats and like that. But now it's just the opposite. I love to train the arms. I would do it every day, like chest day every day if I could, and the legs need more pressure. So that's my bad thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because a lot of people do have that similar experience where when they get started, what really worked for them, I mean, just all of a sudden, it absolutely switches. Where I mean, it really does just show, how the body can adjust to things. But I always say for me too, I mean, calves are the number one pet peeve for me. Where I mean, I could train them I could, inject pure
Oh,
muscle into my calves. I could train them 10,000 times, and it never Never. I could never grow them at all. Yeah. It is just absolutely ridiculous that I could never I mean, I do not know how that is possible, but a big thing that, I mean, is not talked about as much when it comes to working out and gaining muscle is that your nutrition is gonna have to change a lot. You're gonna be able to eat a lot more. What was that like for you? Because I know that you used to be a model before then, and the modeling diet can be a little restrictive. What was that like to all of a sudden be able to eat, a lot more than you were prior?
well, I when I started training, of course, I get so much hungrier. So suddenly, I started to eat again from just living an unhealthy life with. Okay, I was vegetarian, so I didn't get any meats in myself, and I just smoked a lot, drinked, and had maybe one meal that was this small once a day. So yeah, that was a big change when I started eating meat. I loved it, of course. So and that's why I gained a weight also. Uh, but yeah, it was like 2 years. I just ate everything. I didn't even care about what I put in myself, and that was really okay
Yeah.
because that helped me train and get energy, get the gains, and you know.
Yeah.
So now maybe I more focus on what I put. I want to give it nutrition, recovery, and so, of course, like building stuff, building food, not too like. I can't sleep if I am insecure that I didn't get enough food.
Oh, I always say gains are made in the kitchen too. I mean, it's just that's a thing that so many people don't understand. But and you led me perfectly into my next question because you did recently make a post about it on Instagram, and I found it was a fun talking point too. That you hate to sleep, so
Yeah,
and I always say, I mean,
so
sleep is
boring.
the most important thing when it comes to recovery and when it comes to
Mhm.
getting that muscle growth. But I,
That's why I hate it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate it too as well. I mean, believe me, with what I mean, we both have very busy lives. I can tell from everyone from getting all of our podcasts organized. I have a very busy life. She has a very busy life as well. So, I mean, sleep for us is one of those things where it just feels like it's taking away time from our busy days where we could be doing more productive stuff. But the fact that sleep is such an important thing when it comes to the lifestyle that you're in, what's the proper amount of sleep that you like to try to get?
Well, I need to sleep. I don't have any energy if I don't get so. But I don't. Yeah, I sleep really bad, so that's why I need more hours than maybe a normal person that sleeps all night without stopping. I wake up like 1,000 times, so maybe 9 hours. Yeah, that's a lot for some people, but normal for me. And yeah, I would probably love to sleep if I could. Like, um, I admire the people that just fell asleep like this on the day.
I don't admire them. I hate them because they're those people that, like, as soon as they get home, they just get in their bed and they fall asleep automatically. I'm one of those people where, good luck. I'm 45 minutes of just tossing and turning and, trying to fall asleep. So yeah, I am jealous of those people. But yeah, I always said if I got if I got less than 6 hours of sleep, good luck trying to get me to work out or do anything because, I'm just going to be cranky. I am not going to be, I mean, it's going to be very, very hard for me to get that workout in. But another thing that I love to talk about, because I mean, so many people just don't realize the fact that when you walk into the gym, one thing that I hear a complaint about a lot from a lot of people is that they just get intimidated and they feel like that it might not be their place because they just feel like that everyone's attention is going to be on them. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that 99% of the people in that gym are more focused on them than they are anything else that's happening in that gym. Was that a struggle for you at all? Just sort of realizing that hey, it's all me in there. Like, don't worry about what other people think in the gym.
Yeah, yeah, that was of course. We in my like small city we have the heavy line and the less the like energy line. So and in the heavy line, so everybody just big guys goes there, no woman at all. So today maybe I'm the only woman over there sometimes. So that's weird, but I was really scared, and remember that I emailed some girl I admired with a lot of muscles that how can you like how can you just go there? Isn't it like scary to be with the big guys and when you're really like young? Is it like allowed to go there even if I look like this? But yeah, we everybody focus on themselves. Everybody trains because they're own. Nobody goes there to just look at people. I don't think so. I hope not. So
let's
yeah,
let's be honest,
everybody
some people do, but it's the very, very small minority of people
maybe
that
in
do.
USA.
Yeah, well, USA, yeah, you got a couple of guys that go there that are just like creeping around. But that's unfortunately that's the case that happens in every few gyms. But yeah, that's just another thing that I mean, the more people realize that, the better. But how early when you started working out did you start to see those changes? Did it happen really, really quickly that you really developed more muscle, or did it take a lot more of a time process?
The Of course I gained weight and yeah, I thought it was like muscles directly, but it's not possible. So it's hard because when you start you just you get the pump and you think, oh my god, I got so much gains, whoa. When you take those pictures and then you look a year later like you just laugh. But um yeah, I saw changes, but they you can't compare them to what I have built up today. It's a big change.
Oh, it's a never-ending process of just getting
Yeah.
better and just just evolving. But how long into your journey before you decide to start your Instagram page and really start to inspire other people?
It started same time. I when I was suicided and just doing those modeling and living so unhealthy. So after that, it was a new beginning, and I don't know. I sometimes ask myself, how did I even come up with the idea of starting the blog and the Instagram and the name? Because the name svagtillstark is on Swedish, from weak to strong. But it just happened the same year, 2013, so a while ago.
So that's another interesting thing for people to realize that I didn't realize because we talked before we did this podcast, and you speak Swedish though, but you're in Finland.
Yeah.
So that's something that's really, really strange. So I do a lot of people in Finland just speak Swedish, or is that just sort of just a thing that you do?
Well, we are a country that we speak two language, but yeah, most of the people speak, of course, Finnish. But here, where I live, we maybe the half people talk Swedish, and I'm I I I grew up talking Swedish. Maybe sometimes to my mom Finnish, but I went to a Swedish school or Swedish speaking school, and but
Are the languages similar at all, Finnish and Swedish?
No.
No.
Oh my god.
I
Finnish is so crazy different
was
from
gonna say
every
I was gonna
language.
say Finnish seems like it might be a little bit closer to Russian kind of just because
Yeah,
they're a little bit closer and
exactly.
Swedish is sort of like the Scandinavian Norwegian Danish sort of thing. So yeah, I was gonna say that at least you know those two different types of languages because I took German when I was in high school and that's completely it's similar to English but still that was just horrible trying to learn that. So I've always wanted to try to learn a new language. But another thing on that same post that you posted about on Instagram, I'm just gonna keep going back to it because I loved it. Is that used to hate running and doing cardio, which I mean, that is the bread and butter for so many guests that I have on for how they maintain that leanness and how they, just don't put on a lot of weight that then turns into sort of like muscle, but then they get a little bit more bulkier. But like you said, this last year you ran probably like 3 times and you still look like that. And I'm like, first of all, screw you. Because like first, if you only have to run 3 times and still maintain that leanness, it's like, come on, that's absolutely ridiculous. But what about running do you enjoy now? Because you said that now you do love it. So what do you like about that? Is it mainly just the runner's high that you get, just the fact that you can go out in nature? What about running really do you like?
All of it. The freedom, the air you get, because of course outside who would okay, it's a lot of people that run inside, but I love the outside, the nature, the thing that you can just put on your shoes and put maybe music on the favorite song and just run, like run, and you just feel so energized suddenly and happy, and you have no idea where to go and how long you will do this, but the only thing you need to do is just keep on running, and who cares if you fall or stop? If you walk a bit, there is no like pressure. There, it's just you and the nature and the running.
Yeah, running for me, I mean, I'm more of a bike guy myself. I mean, I go on bike rides and that's I mean, it's similar, but yeah, I totally understand that, just being out in the fresh air, especially in this time of year where it's getting to be fall where the weather is starting to get a lot better. But you also said something that I agree with that all of my friends hate me for is that I don't like summer as well. I don't like it. I don't like it when it's really hot.
Really?
I don't like it when
That's so
it's
weird.
a well. Here's the thing, though, because I like it when I like winter because we have similar winters probably in Finland and Minnesota where it gets very cold here. But like I said, I like to play the hockey. I like to go skiing. I like to enjoy being outside in the winter. But one thing that I like to ask all of my cold climate guests is that, a big thing motivation wise for people, at least here in Minnesota, is that they find it very hard to be motivated when it comes to, it being like, maybe like negative 20 degrees outside or negative 10 degrees. It's hard to go outside to your car and drive to the gym when it's that cold. So, what do you use as motivation during those days when it can get very cold and your body's just basically telling you, hey, let's stay inside and, watch Netflix and have some hot chocolate?
Well, I love it because that's the best time when it's cold. That's easy for me to go because then I get blood circulation and I just get more energy and happy. But I think the summer is more harder to get because you don't want to. It's so hot, and we don't get any air conditioner in the gyms. It's even hotter there,
Oh, wow.
so you don't want to go sweat all the fluids, electro, like all
Electrolytes, yeah.
yeah, from your body that you have left.
They don't have any air conditioning in the gyms in Finland?
No,
Oh,
not here where I'm. That's so, and I'm so crying maybe sometimes because it's so hot. But
wow.
it's just getting in a sauna. When it's so hot, you're not that strong,
Yeah,
and that's real bad.
yeah.
But when it's cold, I think you just when you start to relax and the blood circulation, everything, the brain start working better and the body functions, everything starts again. It's just like a kick. So
I always say too, it's like, what else are you gonna do when it's that cold outside too? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
there's not that much else to do
Will
besides.
it be better after a Netflix movie? No, I guess the training would work better because the body gets like in so many like the whole day changes. And a Netflix movie that's just good when it holds on, when it's on, and the chocolate, but it's gone in 1 minute.
No, yeah, yeah. For me, chocolate's gone in less than a minute. I mean, that's gone in about half a second. But
Yeah.
I did a little research on Finland before we had this podcast here, and I was not aware of that saunas were basically originated in Finland. That's a big part of Finnish culture. I mean, we have saunas here that I go to every once in a while. But how big are saunas there, and do you like to use them after all your workouts?
Um, Maybe 99% of the people use it and go there all the time. I'm maybe the one that hates it and never do it. I sometimes force myself to go just to get it relaxed, and after that, it's that I love in the winter. The only time I can go to the sauna when it's really cold and you get in the sauna, sweat like a shit, and then you jump in the snow. Oh, that's the best. You get so much endorphins.
Oh, I always used to do. We used to do it at my friend's house. They'd have hot tubs, which are kind of they're somewhat similar.
Ah,
Where then
yeah.
we would do that, and then we'd see who could last out in the snow the longest before they had to have to come back into the hot tub. And I usually didn't win that, but I just remember since I'm a history minor when I went to college myself. I just find it so fascinating. It was during the Winter War when Russia invaded Finland that they were showing Finnish soldiers in saunas in between times, like at the when they were on the front lines. They had their rifles and they had everything ready, but they were in saunas just chilling and relaxing. So I was like, oh, that must be really important to Finland if they're willing to do that. But yeah, I saw that about saunas and I was like, wow, that's actually a really cool and interesting fact. But two of the questions that I love to ask all of my guests that come on health and fitness wise, that I mean, first of all, there were so many positive things that happened to me when I started working out, getting bigger and stronger. But one of the negative things is that you're going to get asked to move a lot of people's furniture. You're going to get asked to open a lot of pickle jars or bottled water, anything that's sealed on tight. You just basically become everyone's favor. I mean, everyone, oh, hey, Ryan, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? Have you found that to be a similar result where, I mean, as you've gotten bigger and stronger and people just take one look at you and they just obviously can tell that you work out, do they tend to ask you for favors?
Yeah, at the beginning they were like, "Whoa, oh my God, that skinny person! How can you lift that much?" And maybe the people wanted to help me, but now it's the opposite, and I love to help, and everything feels so easy. It's not heavy anymore. It was really good when you realized how easy it is to, like, when you move some stuff here, some you wanna change the room, everything is so easy. So that's a really good thing, working out. The daily life gets so much easier, and you can help the people you don't know or the people you know. Yeah.
The number one thing, yeah, I always like to say is that, yeah, that really helps out so much is with just the working out. I mean, you can use it to such an advantage. But I always say for me, the double edged sword is that being that tall, as tall as I am, I'm gonna get asked to do stuff even if I had no muscle at all. So it's always just my entire life. It was just, oh hey, you want to come help me with this? You want to come help me with that? I mean, I had friends
You
that.
have probably muscles and you look so nice. I would ask for your help even if I don't need.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, obviously, I always say, I mean, I had text messages from friends a couple of days ago that were just like, "Oh, hey, Ryan, you wanna come over and help me move? I'm moving out of my parents' house," and I say, first of all, I don't want to, but I'll come over and do it anyway, just because, being the good friend that I am. But yeah, it's just learning to accept that was a big thing for me. But what was your friends and what was your family's reaction when you started to adapt this lifestyle and they started noticing all these changes that you were making?
Um, First they were of course a bit scared. Okay, not my dad because he knew how wonderful it is. Uh, but then when they when they like realized how the change was, like when they saw me get so happy and so easy. The Of course they were by my side, and they were like, what the can't you go to the gym already so you get like happier? Why don't be here and complaining about everything. And because when I come from the gym, I'm a total new person.
No, yeah, and I always say there's not a better feeling than after, coming home from the gym after you're getting, a nice good lift in. I mean, just the happiness and, it's the endorphin rush that brings. But you also said in that same that same Instagram post that, I mean, is a question that I ask every guest that, I mean, you hate to shop and I hate to shop too. I mean, I won't be
Yeah.
the first one to lie. I mean, I always tell, when I was younger, I always used to just tell my parents, just pick me out whatever you want. I don't care. I'll wear it as long as it's not something like super bad. But one thing that really affects a lot of people, that another thing with working out that a lot of people don't realize, is that, I mean, if you have muscles and if you work out a lot, clothing options can be limited for you. I mean, I always say
Yeah.
if you have big broad shoulders, dresses aren't your best friend if you're a woman, and then also jeans for anyone. I mean, if you have a big lower body and a small waist, jeans are not made for that, and just your clothing options can become very limited. What are some tips and tricks that you like to use clothing wise so that you don't have to feel so restricted, as opposed to the average looking person who might not have to, deal with those problems?
Um, don't go shopping to normal shopping malls because they don't have any clothes that fits. They're just, I don't know why. Maybe in your country, but here the sizes are like really weird. The I don't get them because they're made for maybe uh uh you know what a doll. uh, I don't know because I never fit in them. I was too small or too big somewhere, and the jeans, what the and they're so uncomfortable. So, but online you get a lot of like opportunities, choices. You just Google and it plops up anything for you. Uh, just because we all have different body types, and when you start working out, your body changes all the time, so you can't just have one size. And but that's pretty, like, I like it, seeing that you change. See, I like when I can try old t-shirt and it doesn't fit me anymore because I don't think I would be fat or something. It's wrong with my body. I just think I need to buy some new stuff and get that means I get more muscles, and I have been good. Like, I have been taking care of my body, getting it building stuff. And
Well, I gotta say, everyone, just I'll show a few photos of her, but she's one of the least fat people that we've ever had on this podcast. She's probably one of the leanest and most, in shape person that we've had on this podcast. So no matter what, if something doesn't fit you anymore, it's because, trust me, that clothes just wasn't made for someone like that. Because yeah, that is just absolutely. I mean, that's a problem that I have too. Is that I sometimes try on old clothes that I had from years back, and it just becomes a disaster. I remember I was at a friend's wedding and I went down to bend over to pick something up and I heard a rip. Luckily, it wasn't the tux. It was the shirt inside the tuxedo that ripped. So I lucked out on that one because I didn't have like a ripped tux that then I had to deal with. But yeah, it's just, I mean, there's just so many things that go on with, getting healthy and getting strong that a lot of people don't realize. But one thing that I always found fascinating, especially for the women that I have on, is that when you're walking down the street and let's say, you're wearing like a tank top or something like that, you're gonna get some stares because, I mean, you're not the average looking woman, and that's hard for some people to get used to. What has that adjustment been like for you when you're walking down the street and then people just all of a sudden start staring at you?
um, that's a good question because you can't really hide your muscles, especially when it's summer. And if you, I think in Finland it's pretty normal still, or people don't say anything. They don't talk with people, even if somebody looks weird or that. But when I travel, I get all the time. In the beginning, people just always say that I'm too small or what there's too much muscles and stuff like that. And yeah, it comes now also, but you get older and you don't care about them, you don't listen anymore. And I now sometimes I get so angry, or like I'm like, why? Uh, you can't just go to some people and say how what's wrong with their body. What's wrong with them having a bad day or anything? I would never do that. I don't choose the way I look. It just comes with the thing doing with what I love, my passion.
I always say I always find it fascinating that people think that, if you were to say that to an obese person, like, "Oh, wow, you look fat," like, "Go to the gym," or whatever, people would hate you. I mean, you would get shunned,
Mhm.
people would attack you, but if you said that to an in shape person, like, "Wow, you look like you're a little too muscular," or something like that, that's somehow more acceptable where people don't get
Yeah, I
as
don't
mad at that
understand.
person. I don't understand how that's possible, but I mean, I guess that's just the place that we're living at now. But yeah, I see that happening all the time, and I'm like, why are people not as outraged at that person as they would if someone said, like, "Oh, you need to stop eating because you're way too fat and you're way too obese." But yeah, I always find that fascinating, and for any one of my American guests out there, or my American audience, because when she said that, people don't really talk to other people that much in Finland. Finland's a very conservative country, like a lot of the Scandinavian ones. I'm part Norwegian, so I kind of understand that. We're my Norwegian side, where you're not gonna like go up to random people and just start talking to them. It's a part of the culture where it's a little to be a little bit more reserved, which I know to us Americans sounds absolutely foreign, because we'll go up and we'll talk to you, no matter what, and just be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? How's everything? How's life? Blah 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 blah." Which, I mean, we would get it would be funny. I'd always want to do that as an experiment, to go to one of those countries like Finland, just start going up to people and just asking them like how their day was and just stuff like that, and see what type of reactions I would get. But that's just a little asterisk for all of the American guests and audience listening to this. But now we go to our audience favorite, my personal favorite part of the podcast, a little questionnaire where we're going to ask Amanda here about a half dozen or so questions that we ask all of our health and fitness guests that come on the show. And we're going to see how our answers stack up to everyone else that we've had on. So for our first question, what is one food that you have to always have in your fridge at all times?
Um, meat, beef and meat. Yeah,
Is there a specific type of meat that you like the most?
steak.
Steak. Any
Uh,
any particular type of steak, or just plain old steak?
well, ribs I love, and making burgers, but the normal, the the beef, the
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, really really raw meat.
I am just like that too. I mean, I always say the two most popular answers are chicken, rice, or also egg whites too. But those are our most popular
What?
answers.
That's so
I
boring.
know. Well, we get a lot. Well, we get bodybuilders on here too, and they have to eat that so they can get ready for their shows that they do. I mean, I know that you
Oh my
competed at a
god.
bodybuilding show, but I mean, yeah, a lot of people they think that that's all that they have to eat, where they don't realize that. I mean, there's so much more variety and so many more options that can go into your diet when you're even just trying to lose some weight. But now, what is one thing out of all of your followers that you have on Instagram? What is one thing that you think they would be most shocked and surprised to find out about you if they met you in person?
Maybe that I never care about my outlook. I never look at the mirror probably. Maybe in the morning when I fix myself. Um, I I'm a really warm person. I just care about how people feel, and I always want to fix if I see someone that is sad or at a bad uh, yeah, bad, just sad or having something on their mind, stress, then I want to fix it directly. I can't look at anyone not having any good times. So I'm a really friendly person, and people used to say that, what the I didn't know you were like that. They thought I was really selfish and self like addicted. because I'm so much in social media, so they think I would be like that, posting pictures all the time, being on the network all the time, not caring about people and spending time with my family, and mm, just living some uh,
Sort of like that fake glamour lifestyle that a lot of people think that a lot of
exactly.
Instagram people live. Yeah, we get that all the time, and that's what I found out. That's why I love to have, Instagram people come on, because a lot of times they do deal with that. And just to have them come on and share their story and make people realize that, like, hey, they're normal people just like everyone else, and they just do it. I mean, they take a lot of photos, and I mean, more power to them. But yeah, that doing what they do on Instagram does not define who they are as a person, which I mean, I totally understand that. But now, if someone were to walk up to you and say, Amanda, we made the decision, you can change one thing about, the fitness industry or the health and fitness lifestyle, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
um that people would stop comparing themselves with others and start training because they want to, because of their own sake and goal, or like, I don't know. You don't need to have any goal, because we people are made for just moving and listen to the heart. Just start doing the sports and training you love. You don't need to go to the gym just because it's like a thing now in media. Just focus on yourself and focus on your daily life. What do you need? What do you like?
Well, I always say, people always think that it's just, you go to the gym and you lift weights and that's how you get in shape. But people don't realize that, I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. I mean, I have friends that just do yoga. I have friends that just do other forms of exercise. I mean, there are so many different ways to go for that look that people want. And I mean, it's just, you're not going to find it one way. And like we were talking about before, with everyone's genetics being different, I mean, there's so many different ways to get into that shape that, I mean, a lot of people don't realize, and they just think that, hey, I have to go to the gym and I have to lift weights, and, that's the only way that it's going to work. But that is just such not the case. So I love that you brought that up, because so many people, I think, definitely struggle with that. But if you were to go back in time and talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, what would be the best piece of advice you would give her?
Um, don't worry. Don't take everything so seriously. Everything will work it out, and because it's just your own mind that comes up with the the unreal thoughts, and just need to let them go and be with your family, the important ones, because you don't know how long they will be there, and don't focus on yourself so much.
Oh, 100%. And I always say that, it's always funny how events like, in when you're that young, when they happen to you, they seem to impact, or you think that's sort of like the end of the world, when you don't realize that, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. But I mean, one thing that I looked at that when you posted this, with going back to that Instagram post that you made, that you said you drink red wine every day. And I looked at that and I was like, oh, huh, that's funny. So when do you drink your red wine? Do you wait until later in the night, or when did that get started? Have you always been a red wine drinker?
Well, I would be, I would probably sleep if I get the red wine in the morning. So because it's calming me. So, and I love to eat it, or I love to drink it with my evening meal. So, well, in the evening, always when I'm I get the what's it called, the craving of having wine, especially with meat, or a good dinner. Or when it has been really a stressful day and you need to calm down and stop the everything that's going on in your mind. It's really calming and helps me into sleep mode.
No, I have a lot of friends that do that too, where they just have a glass of wine every night. That really does help them calm down and relax. I mean, I'm more of a hard drinker myself, where you gotta get you gotta get like the vodkas and the stuff like that for me to get me to calm
So
down
you should come to Finland.
a little bit. Oh yeah, well yeah, I've always said I'd go to one of those countries where, especially yeah, with all the amount of booze that they have there, yeah, I would have a good time there. The only thing though is that I've had friends that have gone there and they say that everything is super expensive there though.
Yeah, depends what you're comparing with.
Well, we have here. So we live. So the part of the U.S. that I live is just huge farmland, huge farm country. I'm not a farmer myself. I don't have any. Yeah, I'm like right in the exact middle of the country, and I'm close to the border with Canada. I'm only about a 4 hour drive away from going up into Canada. So
Oh,
I'm in
nice.
the very center part, and I'm like at the very tip top part of it almost, which is a huge farmland. I mean, my family's never been into, or my dad was a farmer when he was younger because my grandpa was, but literally, I mean, we have this thing called grain belt beer, which is, I mean, it's made from basically corn, which is like what everyone grows here. So they
Yeah.
grind it up and they turn it into beer, and that stuff is the cheapest thing that you can buy. I mean, it's super super cheap, and that's what a lot of people drink here. But yeah, I mean, I had a friend that studied abroad in Sweden for a semester, and first of all, he told me, he's like, everyone there looks like they could be a supermodel. It's absolutely ridiculous. Where he's like, yeah, literally, he's like, they should all just move to the US and they'd all be movie stars within like a week. It's just
Yeah,
absolutely,
they're really pretty.
I don't get how that's possible. Same with like Finland too, and all these Scandinavian countries, which is everyone just looks like they could be a fashion model, or they could be a movie star. I don't get that. It makes me angry just being like, okay, why couldn't I have been born there then, as opposed to? But it's, yeah, it's just it's one of those things, and everyone, if they don't believe me, go and look that up, because I mean, just looking at just pictures of average looking Scandinavian people, you're like, oh my god, they're way more attractive than anyone that we've had, anyone that we have normally here in the States. But before we wrap things up, I always find it funny. So if you're walking, what body part do you get complimented on the most, you'd say, out of all your body parts?
My arms.
Yeah,
Yeah, my biceps, my six pack.
that too. Yeah.
Probably the most, the the most, you know, that the weakest part of my body, the bicep and the abs, and I get compliments of them. That's really weird. They just show up more than normal sometimes.
Yep, I always say too, yeah, it's funny how, the things that the body parts that might not be the best are the ones that get the most compliments. But now, lastly, before we wrap things up, if we were to talk to you a year from today, where would you like to be at in your life? Where would you like to be at in, I mean, just your health and fitness journey? What are some goals that you would have liked to have achieved if we were to talk to you a year from today?
I learned to just live one day, 1 minute at a time. So I don't have any future goals. I don't have any plans really. I just want to live like happy, be with the ones that matters, my family, my friends, and Polly, my dog, just being healthy. I hope life goes like the life is really hard sometimes, but that's the thing about life. It need to have up and downs. You need to fall down a couple of times, because then you grow and you learn so much and you stand up so much stronger. So I like them. Life would be so boring if it would be just like.
Oh, I always say that too. Yeah, it would get so boring after a while if everything was perfect and everything always went your way and everything was just, yeah, you'd kind of get to it where you'd be like, oh yeah, this really really feels off. But is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
What?
Anyone that you would like to give a shout out to, like anyone that you'd like to,
Shout out.
yeah.
Ah, I was like, someone to shout. Okay.
Well,
That's
yeah,
new.
we can shout at people too. I mean, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
uh, yeah. That's a really bad question. I don't have any idols, any people I admire like that much.
Your dad?
Uh, yeah, that was good. I talked about him a bit in this film.
Yeah. Podcast. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, podcast. But yeah, I would love to thank my family. It's really weird to give a shout out to my
No.
family.
No, we hear that. No, that is our most popular answer. And believe me, when you said like you don't have anyone, I was like, really? She just talked about how her dad is the one that got her into working out, and she's like,
Yeah, yeah,
no, I don't want to give a
exactly.
shout out to anyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fine. No, no,
you
yeah.
got me. My dad got me into working out, so he's the hero here. Without him, I wouldn't be here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, literally and figuratively. Yeah. So shout out to her dad. And again, you guys, we cannot thank Amanda enough for coming on and sharing her story. And I'll leave a link to her Instagram page you can go and follow. And first of all, buyer beware, be warned, I should say. It is going to want to motivate you to get in shape and get bigger and stronger. I mean, just looking at some of her photos, you're going to want to get off the couch and stop eating those Twinkies. But again, Amanda, we cannot thank you and your dog enough for coming on the podcast and for sharing your story. It was so great having you on.
Thank you, and shout out to everyone over there, all my followers, and the other people that didn't know me before this. And shout out to you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for calling me. I love to talk with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's I mean, and I love to
You're
have
a
you on
really
too. So
nice person.
I really appreciate that. I cannot thank you enough for that. And we'll have you on again in about a year or two, and then we'll have you talk about how you've made your change and what changes you've made and stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. But again, you guys, go and give Amanda a follow. I'll leave a link to her stuff down below. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.